And let's talk about Idris Elba. So Idris Elba's opening up more. We talked about it the other day about him playing James Bond or whatever, and now he's been saying basically, let's not try to make it woke. You know why it's bothered me that the way he used it? Like I feel like he's using woke in the terms of like how white people have colonized the word. Because we already know what the real definition of woke is. But the way he's using it, it's like a black man who's been colonized by white people and is using their version of what the word means. So uh for well over a decade, movie fans have rightfully pushed the British star as the perfect next 007, but Elba believes that the rumors of him being in the mix were never legit. He says, quote, I've always felt that it's not a realistic thing. This is what he told British GQ. James Bond was written how he was written for a reason. But I was complimenting, he said, but I was complimented by it. And also, I think in realistic terms, some markets just don't go for that. Bond is big all over the world, and audiences won't go for a black male and African male playing Bond. That's not what they like in their culture, period. He continued by saying Bond is so unrealistic, so a hint of reality is good, but let's not try it and make it woke. I think you've got to be pure to what it is, escapism. Don't try to answer the world's taste, just be Bond. Now, as far back as 2015, people have been trying to cosplay him, or I should say ship him as 007 as a person who's going to replace Daniel Craig, and he seemed much more receptive to the idea being a possibility, saying if human beings want to know if there's any connectivity between all of us, the one thing I've heard about around the world universally is that you'll be great at James Bond. If it should happen, that's proof there's connectivity amongst human beings. If everyone wants something, they can make it happen. Now, complicating Elba's chances to step in as Bond was the duration of Craig's return or Craig's run. Excuse me. Craig starred in five 007 films spanning 15 years and finally walked away after 2021's No Time to Die, which a lot of people didn't particularly care for. Now, he said, we know Idris, we're friends with him, and he's a magnificent actor. This is what former Bond producer Barbara Broccoli said in early 2022. And it's been part of the conversation, but it's always difficult to have the conversation when you have someone in the seat. Broccoli and her brother Michael G. Wilson have since handed creative control of the series to Amazon MGM Studios. We know they're looking for a new Bond at this moment. Denis Villeneuve was supposed to direct and write a new Bond movie. Right now, he's hella focused on getting Dune 3 finished, as in post production and all the other stuff that comes with that. So I don't think that Bond is a top priority right now, but we do know that they're looking for a new Bond. I believe they're going to go younger. Now, in regards of what Idris is saying about this, no shade, but I agree with him. I don't think Bond needs to be black. Let white people have their stuff. I don't know why every time. I understand because we have a lack of diversity in certain things. If you want to look, I remember, did they? What was her name? Lashana Lynch. Remember when they tried to make her a black female double O in the last Bond movie? Y'all had a whole conniption fit over that. Not saying it was going to make her a Jane Bond or whatever, but she was another spy within the double O world. And because she was up in there, y'all had a problem with that. Y'all could have just made her a Bond girl and call it a day, kind of like how y'all did Anna de Armas. But anytime y'all want to change up what white people are used to, let white people have their stuff. Now, I did say this because I did like Idris Elba in Hobbs and Shaw, where he played the villain. Hobbs and Shaw, in so many ways, was like a 007-esque spy thriller. Why not create an original IP where we have a black superhero? I'm sure, oh, not a superhero, a super spy. People will come out and support it if, depending on who the actor is, if y'all want to do that. And then down the road, if you want to create a foundation of that and you want to continue to build that franchise with a younger version in that role, like they're doing 007, then you can do that. But why do we always have to, because there's a lack of diversity in something, y'all want to throw it in there? We don't want to keep dealing with shit where it's like, oh, y'all had a black Little Mermaid and y'all went and had a problem with that. Even though the Little Mermaid was ass. I didn't like the film. Whether or not whoever they put in it, I just did not like the film. I thought the cinematography was ass. The effects looked cheap, and it just wasn't a good movie. Regardless of y'all had Chloe up in there, or was it Halle? No, it was Halle Bailey. So when y'all had her up in there, I ain't like the film. So if y'all want to sit up in here and do a super spy with a black actor at the forefront, I would love to see that. Just like whenever you go on the gay blogs and y'all talk about Bond, and we see out in them always, well, here's the gay actors that we would like to see play James. They always do that. Just like y'all reheat y'all nachos because y'all don't have a lot of topics to talk about. Quiet as it's kept on them queer websites, Queerty, Out, Pink News, and the lot. So they always have the same 5 to 10 people that they use, Luke Evans and Jonathan Bailey. It's like, okay, y'all don't have Neil Patrick. I'm like, who wants to see Neil Patrick Harris tired ass as a damn super spy? I mean, bad enough I had to look at his Zionist ass when he was at the Tonys yesterday doing that segment with Pink. But anyway, so if you want to create a bisexual, because I do think if you're going to be a spy, there needs to be sexual fluidity. You have to. There's some gay oligarchs. There's some gay supervillains. We saw them kind of play into the homoeroticism in the movie with Daniel Craig and Javier Bardem. There was a little bit of that kind of homoeroticism between banter between those two characters in the movie. Can't remember which one it was, but it was the one before. Was it Skyfall? It might have been. I can't remember. But there was that banter in there. So, and then there was like an alluding to there possibly that Bond has had to sleep with men to get a job done. That would be more realistic. That sometimes as a spy, you do what you got to do to get the job done. So if they want to explore having a bisexual one, then you can create a series or movie with that. Same thing with a black Bond. So I don't see why it's an issue in regards to creating your own thing versus letting white people have their stuff. And that's how I feel about it. So I'm not mad at Idris for saying what he's saying, but the fact that we're using the woke thing, I don't know, it just felt in the way of how like white people like to weaponize that word just so that way they can get their little points across. So anyway, I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Regarding Idris saying like, yeah, it's not a realistic situation of having a black actor playing James Bond. What he's basically saying is like, yeah, let them have what they got over there. Bond has always been what this has been for over what is it, 50, 60 years. So why change it because y'all want to add a little diversity to the situation. If you want to bring diversity to all the side characters, then I'm here for that. But let Bond be Bond. Shaken, stirred, a womanizer, all the bits that goes up within that, and leave him white and British, because that's who Bond is. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Mhm.